Originally, I think it was a large principal, and I think it said 3 episodes. A lot. We went through a lot of cupcakes. There was a scene with Jaeda and I were a nice little walk and talk. I've taken a liking to her, and I've put her in danger. I don't think that she's referred to me as that before. He's really that funny.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I would like to welcome Jacob Shoemay today with me. Thanks, Jacob, for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Jacob plays Oliver Garrett on When Calls the Heart. So I'm really excited that you were able to be here this afternoon. Let's start with, could you talk a little bit about what first drew you into acting? Was there a particular experience or a moment that you were like, hey, I think I want to give this a go?
Yeah, I got into it when I was a lot younger, 9, 10 years old, and it was just purely from I was just inspired by all the movies I watched. I was just really into film and the entire acting aspect, and I had some actors who I really aspired to, and I just went off that. But I didn't start professionally till I was 18.
That's pretty cool. So, who was one of those actors that you were really hoping that you could be like?
Some of my favorites: Leo DiCaprio, Jake Gyllenhaal, um, uh, uh, Christian Bale, like all like the main,
Classics.
yeah,
I like it. Those are great. They've been around for a long time, haven't they?
yeah,
They
they're
must
great.
be doing something right.
I think so.
So then you heard about When Calls the Heart. Can you talk a little bit about what that audition process was like for you?
Yeah. Uh, Same audition as any other,
Okay.
and then we did a call. I got call back, and then we did the chemistry read with Jada,
Okay.
and then I found out a few weeks later that I got it.
So pretty straightforward, huh?
Yeah,
Didn't have to wait too long to find out that you got the part.
it was a few weeks.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you were were you on the edge of your seat a bit?
yeah. I'd lost a little bit of hope, but it was a nice surprise. Yeah,
Oh, kind of thinking that you might just kind of want to chalk it up to it was a good experience. It probably didn't work out, and then you got a nice surprise.
yeah.
Now, was Oliver the only part that you tried out for?
No, it was a callback also for the part of Wyatt.
Wyatt. Okay.
I thought I had done much better on that one, but
Yeah.
I guess not.
Well, I'll say this, we're really glad that you got Oliver. So
Me too.
you've got a lot of there's a lot of positive comments out there right now about you coming on. That's not always the case. There's a large cast with One Calls the Heart, and sometimes it's like, how are we going to fit another character into Hope Valley? And you have done remarkably well. So good job.
Thank, thank you so much.
What has been your favorite part about playing Oliver?
Um, my favorite part, it might be hard to pick out one thing. It's just been a great experience overall.
All
Like
around?
it was just amazing overall. Like I had favorite scenes to do, but it felt a little easier to play him, I guess, because I feel like I'm kind of similar to him.
Yeah.
That I guess it's a pretty big bonus with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love
You don't have to stretch too far with who you kind of are anyway.
yeah.
So it's probably nice, I imagine, that you get to do a little bit of the Mountie work, but then you also there's this side where you get to have, Oliver is partnered up with Jada in quite a few scenes. So that's probably a nice balance that you get to do a little bit of both.
Yeah, yeah, that was really fun to do.
And I've heard that the cast is pretty nice, so that's got to be a bonus.
Yeah, no complaints there. Everybody.
When you first read for the role, what did you take off? And you've said you're similar to him, but what did you take off of? Like, what is Oliver's personality? Like, how do I need to play this part?
I thought I needed to play him very I wanted to really play into that mysterious aspect and what's the word for it? Um just kind of making him portray as like a very good person because I know his backstory.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I know he had a rough past and
yeah.
he really just needed a break and he needed some good things to happen for him. So
So you had a really I know that we've heard from some characters even this season that they didn't know a lot of the backstory or maybe even where that character was going to go. But are you saying that you had a pretty good idea about, how they wanted you to portray Oliver, his backstory, where he was going to go in the season? Did you have a pretty good understanding of that up front?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Well, and I will say the first couple of episodes, you did a really good job of playing the mysterious part because everybody was trying to figure out, okay, is Oliver a good guy or is Oliver a bad guy? And I think it wasn't until we learned in episode 3 a little bit more about Oliver's backstory that we started to see, he's not a bad kid. He's just got a story to tell. And so you did a really good job the first couple of episodes of playing off the mystery. So nice job.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so were you able to then, since you're similar, I would say, to Oliver, were you able to add any personal touches to the character? I mean, I imagine as an actor, when you're thinking about how you're going to portray this part, that you probably have that kind of internal conversation about that spin that you can put on the character.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's as much, it's as um easily seen. Like more of like an introverted person myself, and I
Yeah,
feel like he would be too.
yeah.
He's more observant and just well kept. And I kind of uh added that part into it from myself, and
Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah,
works out well for you then, doesn't it?
yeah.
Um, so you've talked a little bit already about just a good experience and the cast that you've got to work with. So who on set would you say really helped you adjust when you arrived to playing Oliver?
Oh, easily Aaron, Kevin, Jack, they were all great, giving tips,
Yeah.
just making sure that everything was okay, and they were just great, like really, really nice people. Yeah.
Nice to walk onto that kind of a set and environment, isn't it?
Yeah, very welcoming.
Absolutely. So were there any cast members that gave you any particular advice right up front that really helped you?
Yeah, I got some good advice from Jack. Just since I'm relatively new, he was just giving me pointers, little tips I can just randomly pull out whenever
Yeah.
on set, and yeah, just really gave me a. He was very welcoming, and yeah, gave a
Yeah.
lot of good tips.
Anything that any one of them that really just like stayed with you? You think of any?
Um, just to have more fun with it.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, if you're going to go on a job, you want to have a good time while you're doing it, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, and we see plenty of like the behind the scenes pictures that the cast puts out, and it looks like that you guys have a really good time at what you guys do.
yeah. It was great.
Yeah. So talk a little bit then about your chemistry read. Like, I don't know that we sometimes have a full picture about what that looks like. Is it just like an audition? I know a lot of you guys do. Do you still do a lot of auditions like via Zoom and things like that now? I know that that really changed after COVID. Does that still go on a lot?
It's all self tapes. Like you
Yeah.
just do it at your place or wherever you do it, and then you send it in. And
Yeah.
if there is a chemistry read, that'll most likely be in person.
And then you go somewhere to do the chemistry read. So can you talk a little bit about that with Jaeda?
Yeah. Yeah, it was the chemistry read for Oliver and Wyatt.
Got
Uh,
it.
yeah, it was a pretty packed room. It was a little intimidating. Um, but yeah, I thought I had done much better on Wyatt, and I expected to maybe hear back from that one.
Yeah.
I thought I blew it on Oliver, but yeah,
What made you think that you blew it?
I just didn't really do it how I wanted to do it.
Mm,
I thought I had screwed one part up. I can't remember. So I was a little more hopeful for Wyatt.
yeah.
But yeah, the chemistry with Jada, it was great. Like she was super nice, super sweet,
Yeah.
very outgoing. Yeah,
So you felt good. You knew if you got the part, this could be a good experience because you had a good experience with Jada. It's just you had to wait a couple of weeks to see if it really panned out, right?
yeah.
And then you got the call that you got the part. How long before that you got the call and then you guys actually were on set?
Um, it was pretty quick. I think it was less than a month, 2, 3 weeks.
Yeah. So you didn't have to get, build up a lot of anticipation. It was about time just to get to work.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know going into it that Oliver was going to be in the whole season?
No. The originally, I think it was a large principal, and I think it said 3 episodes.
Oh. So
Um,
you did something right.
yeah, yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Good
Yeah, it was
job.
a little more than 3 episodes.
I guess so. That's awesome. So we know that when they do block shooting and they shoot like episodes 1 and 2, that scenes are often shot out of order. So what was your very first scene that you shot? Do you remember?
Yeah, my first scene was with Kevin and Scout.
Was that a good first one to start with?
Yeah, it was really good. It was that scene in the jailhouse where
Yeah.
I think I'm throwing garbage away or something, and Scout
Oh,
pops up.
and which wasn't one of the very first scenes
No,
actually. So why do you think that that was a good scene to start with?
it was really fun to work with Scout.
Oh,
Yeah,
the dog. There.
yeah.
There you go.
Kevin
I
too.
I thought you were going to say Kevin.
Yeah, it's close second.
That's awesome. So let's jump into then that first episode. We were introduced to Oliver in episode 1. We weren't sure about the mystery part of it. So did they tell you that they wanted you to keep it mysterious for a little bit? Or did
Um,
you just read the script and just play it out?
no, I just played it out. I
Yeah.
didn't get any pointers like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I could just kind of tell a little bit from like the overall aspect.
Yeah. You could tell that they kind of wanted to keep it a little bit ambiguous until we got further in to know Oliver.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. So then in episode 3, we learn that Oliver was behind in some of his schooling, which was really neat to see how that played out with Oliver and Nathan having to figure out what he's going to do, but then Oliver actually spending that time with Elizabeth. And somewhere in there, Nathan and Elizabeth, they saw this potential in Oliver and decided to give him another chance. So, what do you think are some of Oliver's biggest strengths that might have stood out to them?
I think he's very determined, very ambitious, and I think he's loyal to a fault. Like he's been through quite a bit where it's probably harder for him to trust people, and once he does, he's completely loyal. Like
Yeah.
he just tries to be the best version of himself constantly because
Yeah.
he was just surrounded by everything
Mhm.
negative. So
Yeah. Do you
yeah.
think that where Oliver's at right now, and I know we just watched episode 10, do you think that Oliver has found that community of people where he feels like he can be loyal to them?
Yeah, I think he's really warmed up to everybody where he's at a point where he feels like he finally has people he can surround him with, almost like a family. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's still early.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're seeing that as well. I mean, even some of the looks last night, it seems like he's really starting to settle in. And I would say, even in episode 9 at the end, when they're all walking down the street, he just seems very, just kind of like in the zone, like with his people. So it's really starting to come across the screen as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump to episode 4. Oliver misses the chance to dance with Allie and give her a gift. So, if he had been able to do that, what do you think that gift might have been?
Oh, I know what it was.
So, was there actually something in the box, or was it just like pretend that something is in the box?
Yeah, there wasn't anything in the box, but I know it was supposed to be in
Do
it.
you think it'll ever come back, or was it just a missed moment, a missed opportunity?
Oh, um, yeah, I could see him making a return.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take it out of my vest pocket.
Yeah. It's put in some drawer right now, waiting for a later date, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of where things go. They kind of go into the drawers for a little bit, and then it's like, hey, let's bring that one back up. So, well, we'll be looking for it because it was you played it so well. It was like, oh, he's moving in, and then Wyatt sweeps in, and you could just hear the resounding across Hardy Nation, everybody going, no. We were very sad for Oliver in that moment, I will tell you that. So
Yeah.
you did a good job on that. Episode 5 and 6 were directed by Martin Wood, and I got to talk with Martin a few weeks ago, and he shared with me that he really spent some time coaching you and Jaeda, and that he reminded you that where Allie and Oliver, it is kind of tricky to say Allie and Oliver, that they were just at a place where they were friends. Oliver doesn't know he likes her yet, is what he said that he told you. But he knows that there's something there and that he likes being around her. Do you remember that conversation?
Yes, I think if that's the one I'm remembering, yeah, that was after we did one scene that took a lot of tries.
What scene was that?
Uh, I don't think that, no, I don't think that one has come out yet.
Oh,
Yeah, it felt very mechanical.
do you
But
think, well, so if he did episodes 5 and 6, do you think that it was a cut scene?
oh, for episode 5 and 6.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh no, that's not the part I'm thinking of then. I don't know what part he's talking.
Okay, so this would have been Martin was when he was directing 5 and 6. This would have been when Allie and Oliver are first in the woods, and um, Allie wants to trespass, and Oliver doesn't want to go. But then later on, we also have that moment where she confesses about her dad, and he was kind of talking about how he coached you guys through that moment. But he was letting you know that at that moment, Oliver knows that there's something there, but just likes being around her. When do you think that? Because at that time, I think Allie was still a little bit guarded about Oliver. Um, do you think, or were you directed? Was there ever a time where it was like, okay, Allie is starting to enjoy being around Oliver now?
Yes. I was always, yeah, kind of um it was always I was more interested in her than she was in me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I either knew that I liked her or that I just enjoyed her company, liked being around
Mm-hmm.
her. Um, and her not so much, or just to a lesser degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were always just constantly reminded of just kind of the buildup of
Mm-hmm.
uh our company together,
Mm-hmm.
of the liking. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does take a bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
very gradual.
Uh-huh. Slow and steady, right?
Yeah.
So in episode 6, when Allie wants to trespass onto McGinty's property, Oliver tells her that he doesn't want to go, but ultimately he does. What do you think makes him decide to go along?
Um, I think he feels a certain responsibility over her.
Mm-hmm.
He's her protector in the current moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, you just can't let her go alone out there, especially with it being McGinty's land. And
Yeah.
also the fact that it's Nathan's daughter who would
Mm-hmm.
be my boss, and that
Yeah.
would not be a good look on me.
Yeah, I kind of wondered. I think we were kind of picking up on that. There's, as much as he wants to do a good job as a Mountie, it's about protecting her, but also it doesn't help that it's Nathan's daughter too. So
Hmm.
um, Oliver's breaking his rules,
Yeah.
but he's protecting Allie at the same time. So one of the standout moments of the season, and I mean that, a lot of people talked about how amazing that scene was in the barn when Oliver's in there cleaning the barn, and Allie gets up the nerve to come in and explain to Oliver about her past. It was a pretty amazing moment. Do you remember being directed through that scene, or any things that Martin Wood really wanted you to make sure that you guys played out? Do you remember any of that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot more on Jada's side with direction,
Mm-hmm.
but I did also have to play that part where I can kind of relate to her and I understand where she's coming from.
Mhm.
and that like I'm there for her overall.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Also, those cupcakes were ooh, not the best.
So, we've joked about the cupcakes because we're like, "Is it really practical to pack cupcakes for the woods and a hike?"
Yeah, it was really hard to. I had to split it in half, and I couldn't split it in half. It would always I get like a little crumb off, and so I had the entire thing, and Jada would have a little piece. That's funny.
How many cupcakes did you go through?
A lot. We went through a lot of cupcakes.
Oh, we did joke about that, but it was sweet. I mean, I got where it's coming from. It was about Oliver, getting his own birthday party, and it made more sense than walking in with a big birthday cake, but
Yeah.
still. I remember when Allie picked him up at Elizabeth's and she walked out and I'm like, "Oh, she's getting cupcakes." And then she pulls them out of the bag in the woods and I'm like, "Okay, we'll go with that."
Yeah.
But it was sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I know that at the end of that scene in the barn, I mean, even you gave a look. There's that look that Oliver gives before he attempts to hand her the cupcake,
Yeah.
where it's this look of like, okay, I get what she's saying, and at the same time, like, and I don't know, maybe there was more to it, and you can add to it. There was that connection that it felt like it's like, oh, we've got that in common. It's what it felt like anyway.
Yeah. I think they really bonded over that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good earned moment for the episodes that had built up to 6.
Yeah.
All right, so one, Oliver immediately, let's jump to, I believe this was episode 9. Oliver immediately recognizes Sunny Garrison and calls him out, which I think was interesting because um, as much as we're learning that Oliver's pretty sharp when it comes to being a Mountie, it seemed a little bit like he's just calling him out right there on the spot. So we were kind of like, whoa, he's calling him out. So when Sunny grabs Allie, Oliver pushes back. What do you think's going through Oliver's mind at that moment? And I think you've kind of already answered this a little bit.
Yeah. I think it was just terror and fear for her safety,
Yeah.
as well as, um, I mean, yeah, I think it was just all that, just
Yeah.
because I've taken a liking to her, and this is I've put her in danger. I could have stopped this. I could have
Hmm.
refused to go in the woods with her, and
Hmm.
now we're in this situation. Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, Nathan's not
Yeah.
going to be happy about this.
Yeah.
So then Oliver, when Oliver tells Nathan that he should have never let Allie go with him. It's the second time that we've heard Oliver regret doing something that his instinct was to not do that. Do you think, and maybe I mean, is there going to be a time where, and I think it's played out well for Oliver. It's been 2 moments where he went against what he's been conditioned to do in order to protect her. Is there gonna be another moment like that coming up, or will there be a moment where, Oliver kinda has to take the lead? Because in both of those scenes, we've seen kinda Allie take the lead and then Oliver have to swoop in after her.
Um, I don't think there's any where I really take the lead, but I think it becomes more um uh, not as one-sided. Like we're more uh I don't know what I'm thinking of.
Well,
What
Allie's pretty, she's got a mind of her own. Allie's always been pretty strong-willed,
yeah.
and it seemed as though Oliver's done a really good job of, like you've said, being there to protect her. And
Yeah.
so maybe now, I know just even in the most recent episode, um, there was a few moments where we've seen Allie kind of really start to see Oliver in a more of a light of this guy's got it together, like he knows his stuff. And so maybe it's kind of made them a little bit more even as far
Yeah.
as, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was thinking of.
I got you. um, so, um, In episode 9, Oliver plays a huge role in creating the distraction and going after Sunny Garrison. What was it like filming that scene and getting to be one of the heroes in that moment?
That was my favorite scene in the film. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is that?
I wasn't expecting that much action. I didn't know that much was going on. So it was really cool to hear that that scene was taking place. And yeah, it was a fun build up to that.
How long did it take to film that whole sequence?
Oh, multiple hours. Yeah, that almost took up the entire day. That was a while.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. It's so funny how we can see something that's just a few minutes and then know that it took, that many hours to actually pull it all together. Was it just a matter of, was the hours that were put into it because of the complexity of the scene? And so we had to shoot from a bunch of different angles, or just constantly redoing in order to get it right? How did that all play out?
Oh, for sure the complexity. Like there was so many angles and it was
Mhm.
like it was in the woods, so they really had to it was harder to find those angles. And the
Mm,
horses didn't always want to run all the way through.
yeah.
And getting the kick right,
Uh-huh.
jumping out of the way in time, like there's just so much to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any funny moments in any of that?
Um no, it was just so much fun.
You like the action side of it?
Yeah.
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 You need more mountie action then, right?
Yeah.
At the end of episode 9, we see Oliver walking with Nathan, Allie, Elizabeth, and Bill. Um, is that where is Oliver really feeling like I'm a part of this? Is he allowing himself to start to feel that way?
Yes. He's spent so much time with them. They've been through a lot together at this point. He's already as close as he's with Allie. I think he's really starting to connect with um, the people of Hope Valley there.
We don't know, and maybe I missed it, but we don't necessarily know when Oliver comes to town for some sort of like a mentorship like that. Are they supposed to like leave and go away? I mean, is it just you're here for X amount of time, pass the test, and then you move on? Did they ever share that with you as far
I
as
I,
like,
I
because
think
I
that it,
wonder, go ahead.
yeah, I think that is the idea that he is basically a mentor under Nathan.
Mhm.
And once he has completed his exams, he would go off and
Mhm.
do what Nathan does. But I'm not sure after that. That's pretty much as
Yeah.
far as I know.
So do you think that Oliver is going through any sort of because I think we've seen this play out so many times in TV series and movies where it's like I'm starting to feel really connected to these people, but I don't want to get too close because I'm not going to stay. Did anybody ever direct you like play that out, or is it kind of like you don't have to, that's not something that Oliver would be wrestling with right now?
No, I no, yeah, that's not something I don't think I'd be wrestling with right now. I was never directed.
Good.
Um,
Probably just happy to find a home.
yeah, for sure.
Good. Good. All right. So we had two great moments on Sunday night. The first one is when Allie and Elizabeth come into the jail. First of all, where was Oliver hiding? Was he like sweeping out a cell? Is that because he appeared out of the shadows?
Yeah, I was cleaning the cells, eavesdropping.
And so, what prompted Oliver to come out? Is it because he knew that Allie was taking the heat for everything and he needed to like make sure that Nathan knew he was as much at fault? Is that what prompted Oliver to be like, I've got to come out and say something?
Yes, I think it was mainly to take some of the heat for Allie being blamed on all this, and to also point out the fact that she was not completely all in the wrong. Like we had a reason to be out
Mhm,
there,
mhm,
with the fact that I had known the McGinty's had blocked a trail, and
mhm,
that there was just a lot more to the story than
mhm.
there it seemed like.
Did Oliver have at that moment? pretty solid understanding that it was the ash trees and the ash trees were on Lee Coulter's land. So it's interesting that did he already know that information and now all of the pieces came together and it was the time to like reveal that information
Yes, I think he had learned it
from his
from
project?
from the project. Yeah, he
Yeah.
learned from the project. So Allie, and yeah, that was just another little bonus for Allie because I had pointed it out, but I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for her.
Yeah. Well, again, that's, Oliver becomes the hero once again because he knows about the trees, puts it all together. Um, and then that spurs on everything and that McGinty character, man, he played that part well, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, it was good.
That was really good. It's also the first time that we hear Allie call Oliver Ollie. So was that written in the script, or did that just how did
It
that
was
happen?
written. It
It
was
was
written.
written.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So did you guys have any conversation about that? It was like, oh, I guess you're calling me Ollie now.
No, we didn't talk about it, but I think we had all noticed it though.
Uh-huh.
It was just like, oh, I don't think that she's referred to me as that before.
Uh-huh.
Just a little weird. I think it's just yeah, a little hint of her just getting more comfortable with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Well, it was cool, and I think a lot of us did a double take. Like we didn't catch it the first time, and they're like, "Wait a second, I think she just called him Ollie." So that was pretty cool. That it's another one of those little bitty, like you said earlier, these little bitty moments where it just kind of moves them along.
Yeah.
So then they're at the dinner a little bit later, and Oliver's sitting across the table and sees all of that go down. He sees um, Nathan even have a conversation with Allie about having to apologize a little bit for how he reacted. But we see this moment where Allie looks across the table and thanks Oliver. Can you talk a little bit about that moment? Like, how did they kind of direct you guys to work through that scene?
Um. Yeah. It was pretty straightforward. I was just sitting there. I don't didn't say anything, so just kind of had to look out for
They
that.
tell you like, okay, Oliver in this moment, like he's thinking this is what he's thinking, or is this another one of those this is just one more opportunity for Oliver to realize he's in a really good place.
Yeah. 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 It's
And he
to
may have just got more bonus points from Allie.
that too. The bonus points from Allie. Yeah.
There you go.
He's just happy that they're finally um really becoming friends and
Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. Where did is Wyatt gone? Is he gone?
Um I think so.
Okay. Wyatt left. He's out.
Yeah. Stole my thunder and then he headed out.
Took the grilled cheese with him.
Yeah.
There you go. Um, so if you could give one word to describe Oliver's story for these next two episodes coming up, so episodes 11 and 12, you got a word that would describe Oliver's story?
For the next two episodes?
Hmm.
Um it's one word.
You can know,
It's a lot more
you can give more than one word. The
relaxed.
rules
It's a
can be
lot
broken.
less intense than these more previous ones.
Say it again.
It's a lot less intense than these previous
Yeah.
ones.
We've
In
kind
some-
of worked through all the McGinty stuff
Yeah.
and overcome that. Okay, so we're going to go with less intense.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take that. Um, so we know that there's other people that are going to be going through some pretty intense stuff coming up with little
Oh yeah.
Jack.
Yeah.
Is this an opportunity for Oliver to kind of step into more of that like Mountie role while Nathan is helping out Elizabeth a lot?
Um,
Or is it more for him just to be there for Allie?
it's more for him to be there with Allie. Yeah, he's less involved in that scene with little Jack, Aaron, and
Hmm.
Nate.
Hmm. Well, and I imagine it's going to impact Allie quite a bit too. So it'll be good that Oliver's there for Allie during that
Yeah.
time. Good.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so what would you see? And I think you kind of said this, but let's just make sure. What has been your favorite Oliver scene so far this season?
Yeah, it was in the woods.
It was in the woods, all the
Yeah.
action. We just need to get Oliver more Mountie action then, right?
Yeah.
Um, can we look forward to another favorite moment coming up?
Um, we had a little talk. There was a scene with Jada and I were a nice little walk and talk
Okay.
that, um,
I think we've seen pictures of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was more so fun filming that. I learned a lot from that. It took a lot of direction and it was a lot more complicated than I thought it would be.
You probably haven't done a walk and talk on When Calls the Heart yet, have you?
No, maybe with Jada before, but no, that's the only one that comes to mind. That one, yeah, that one
We
was,
hear often from actors that those are pretty intricate as far as, moving the camera back and walking, and there's a lot of parts that go into it to make it kind of play out the way that you want it to play out. So that's
yeah,
something we've got to look forward to then. So that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So what has been the biggest surprise about being on When Calls the Heart for you?
Um, the set was amazing. The set
Yeah.
was a surprise. I didn't know it was all filmed on the same property.
Yeah.
And I mean, the town itself is beautiful. It's a lot. It's amazing. Like
Yeah.
it was shocking being there. It was amazing.
Just drove out there. So you had your first, like, I got to actually go on set last September. I was there for the Hearties family reunion. And on that Sunday, we got to go out, and I think we got to spend a couple of hours on set. I actually could have been there a lot longer. I was going around videotaping and taking pictures and stuff. So it is pretty cool that like you guys can do everything there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about it? Got a favorite
Um,
building? Got a favorite place to hang out?
I really like the saloon. The saloon is it's beautiful inside.
It's pretty cool. It's big and a lot going on, but a lot of space too.
Yeah,
Where's the go-to place to hang out when you guys aren't filming?
we're mostly in the barber shop.
Ah,
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle of everything,
yeah.
so it's
Easy
easy
to
to get
get.
around. Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat set that you can have all of that stuff right there and it look like a town. But then if you take some of the paths and the trails down, all of a sudden you're in the woods, or
hmm
it's a pretty neat place. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So, um, what has it been like coming into such an established show?
Um,
Season 12 and Jacob Shoemay shows up.
uh, yeah, I mean, like arriving on set and filming, it was great. Like it was very welcoming. I'd been filled in with by Aaron and Kevin on everything that had been happening with the show,
Okay.
and I'd watched previous stuff. I'd watched the previous season to get a feel
Good.
for it, and yeah, everybody like online, social media, everybody's been really nice. It's been great. Yeah,
Yeah. Who cracks you up the most?
Kevin's so.
But is it really funny or is it a good effort? That's what we really want to know. Is he
No,
really that funny?
he's really that funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's good that you get to play up against that quite a bit and have a good time, right?
yeah.
That's awesome. That's good. Um, all right. So before joining the show, did you have any idea? Are you in Vancouver?
Yes.
So people have said, I know when I flew in to Vancouver, and you got to tell them when you go through customs, like why you're there. And they're like, just tell them you're doing a When Calls the Heart thing, and they'll know. And people have said that if you're in Vancouver, you know about When Calls the Heart if you're in the industry because it's a pretty popular show. So did you know about When Calls the Heart?
I
Had you heard about it?
didn't. I don't watch Hallmark as much myself, and
You heard it here. Jacob doesn't watch Hallmark.
now I do. Now I do.
Yes.
But and that was also my first audition for When Calls the Heart, so I hadn't heard about it before. No.
Yeah. Um, but did you know then about the all of the hype? Did you have that idea?
Um, I didn't really have an idea till uh, how so many people had just told me about like the fan base and to just like be weary on social media and
Uh-huh.
yeah, and now I can see very
And
clearly.
then you get tagged in everything, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because we often hear from the actors that if they want to find out about When Calls the Heart, they just go look at all the stuff that they're tagged in.
Yeah.
But at least you know that the show's popular enough that it's like, hey, there's a strong chance we're going to get a season 13 and I'll get to keep playing Oliver, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
There you go. So, speaking of season 13, if there is a season 13, we know that Jacob likes the Mountie action. Is there anything else that you would like to see in Oliver's storyline?
Um, yeah, just overall a more if I were to be on season 13, just a more it'd be so much more fun to have in a role where you just have kind of more authority, like Nathan's kind of role where
Mm-hmm.
you're more than a cadet.
I think
Yeah,
he's
I think
earned
that,
it at this point, don't you?
yeah, he's been through quite a bit.
I think he's earned it. I think he's proven that he knows his stuff. And he's saved the day on more than one occasion. So maybe Nathan will start giving him some more responsibility. We got to figure out a way how to keep Oliver, the Mountie cadet, and the Mountie in town together. We got to figure that out, right?
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
to figure out how to make that happen.
that'd be great.
Yeah. All right. So, is the end of season written in a way that there's a chance Oliver will be back in season 13?
Um, yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
think um yeah, the gradual buildup is of Jada and Oliver, or Allie and Oliver, um, really peaks at the end of the season where they're like at their closest with each other,
Okay.
and yeah, not in trouble with anybody. Just yeah,
Enough to keep us wondering for the next 9 months what's going to happen with Allie and Oliver, right?
yeah,
There you
yeah,
go. Well, it sounds like it's been written away that we can expect to have Oliver back in season 13, and we're hopeful that we get a season 13. So, again, kudos to you. I'm telling you, I haven't heard, and I hear a lot, and I haven't heard anything but positive feedback about Oliver being in Hope Valley. So, that's a testament to your work. So, good job.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for chatting with me today and appreciate it. We're looking forward to the last couple of episodes. So, good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
See you
having me.
later. Bye bye.